Hello and welcome to our show. And this is Analytic Energy Agency. It's our YouTube page. And today we are again with you on our English language broadcast, which we produce time to time. As you know, those who follow us or those who are first time, we're welcome also. Normally we produce all our videos in Russian, but time to time we do that in English just for, to keep up with our international audience. And today we will try to discuss what is going on in the world, in Russia, in America, in Kazakhstan. Of course, everything is overshadowed, by the political agenda and all those military, agendas in the Middle East in the first place, of course. The second is Russian-Ukrainian conflict, which is still underway, and there are no prospects to finish it in the visible future, at least. We know that all those negotiations they have been stopped or on hold for a while because the United States, they are busy with their war with Iran. And in general, if we just look at the general picture, of course, we see that everything has been changed in the world. We don't see any rules anymore. We understand that the only rule is the might, it's military capacity, it's military might. That one who is stronger military in the first place, and economically, of course, that country has more rights, of course, and that kind of reality, it's pragmatism, as they call it, because all those things which we, have been cultivated for many years, I think for like last 30 years at least, they are gone. And this is, recognized and admitted by many political leaders of the countries. Just a few minutes ago, I saw it was press conference of Nordic countries and Canada, and they said, especially this Norwegian prime minister said that the world has changed, and the Danish prime minister also, she just repeated the same. And we see that in general, we can see that kind of total disruption, I would put it. It's literal disruption of energy sector in the world. We see all those problems with Hormuz Straits, with oil deliveries and oil logistics. Also, we see all those sanctions towards Russia, towards Iran, also towards other countries. And so it's already mentioned that, of course, it affects and influences the development of, for instance, Russian power sector, which we, focused on, because, all those plans which are set by the government, and all those challenges which should be met, they are kind of they have some obstacles to fulfill, to carry out, because there are no capacities for necessary equipment, necessary machinery, and so on and so forth. And the companies which used to be the biggest investors in the Russian economy, for instance, they have just left, as you know, over the last few years, and they have lost a lot of money, and we don't see any kind of end of that. It's, of course, all of us, we want to have an end for this war between Russia and Ukraine. But we see that there is a new war just started. And of course, problem is there that there are issues which have to be addressed, and that's a problem. There are issues between the countries. There are conflicts between the countries, between Russia and Ukraine. There are some, basis for those conflicts for those hostilities. Same situation is with Iran and the United States and Israel. And those issues, they have to be addressed, and resolved somehow. But the problem is that nobody tries to understand and deep dive into the details, into which actually, shape those problems, which they have created those problems, because there are some story behind all those issues as usual. And the problem is that there's kind of set of rules have been adopted over the last 30 years, and they're kind of formal rules. For instance, the borders of the country and sovereignty of the countries and so on. And it means that if someone changes those borders or changes or tries to inflict on the country's sovereignty. The problem is that no one wants to be no one wants to dig deep enough to understand why that happens, and they just say it's out of rules, it's not allowed, and therefore we have to do some things, like for instance to sanction Russia or to sanction Iran or some other countries. And the thing is that those rules, they have shaped the order, and they, from the very beginning, they were politicized. That's a problem. They were politicized. It means that there are some good guys, there are some bad guys, and who are judges of that, who who can have the right, to say who is better, or what is bad and what is good. There are some countries which set those rules, and they are Western countries. But there are also some other countries. There are Eastern countries. There is China, there is India, there is Russia, and there is also Iran and all this, the Arab countries and so on and so forth. And of course, they have different views, and that's a problem. The United Nations, like a structure which were set after World War II, they don't work. I mean, this institution is not capable anymore to resolve those issues because there are no consensus there. And so what we see there in the world, we see a deep division, and kind of, even I would put a schism between East and West, between North and South, and that is very concerning, and it's very worrisome. And of course, it affects everything. It's our everyday life and economies, and of course, we have to find a solution, some way out of that kind of situation. Because if we don't find a way out, the situation will deteriorate further on, and we probably will just slip into the World War III, which can be the last one on the globe. But the thing is, of course, it's political, and we are not specialists on that. And I want to say that there are some similarities, and it's a good sign, and it gives us some hope. Similarities in terms of all the countries, especially developed one, they face the same problems. For instance, in our sector, in power sector, and let's get back to our to our morons, as we call it in Russia. We see that data centers or data centers and artificial intelligence and mining, all those hypes which just spread all over the world as new technologies and new ideas. They require a lot of electricity, much more than we can imagine before. Like normal traditional business has, of course, there are some power intensive businesses and enterprises, like for instance, like metallurgical or this kind of, for instance, nickel or anything like that. This metals and so on. But what we see with data centers, the problem is that they are very fast to build and they are very simple, comparatively, comparing to some other, more complex factories and plants and so on. And they're being built very fast, and electricity sector have to catch up with that. And the problem is that in centralized models of the market, which took place in the world and all those countries, like the United States, for instance, in Europe, also in Russia, and some other countries. Of course, they are affected by this trends and tendencies, and it suggests the fast development of new load. It creates problem for all other customers, and because the electricity consumption of electricity spikes up and is ramping up very fast, and there is a like shortage of electricity. It's a greater demand, and so higher prices on the market, higher cost of infrastructure, which all those investments should be made in order to keep up with all this pace of artificial intelligence and data centers development. And those things are addressed in the United States and in Russia also, and we discussed that already many times in our Russian language videos. And so you know that in YouTube you have that feature to translate, or auto-translation, or auto-translation, or something else. And so you, of course, if you are interested in our point of view and our, some materials, because there are some diagrams there, some, we commented on the articles from the United States resources, media resources, and so on. And it's an interesting thing. And I can just here, I want to just tell you that it's very similar problems, and it's a good sign, because it's at least, it gives us some hope that the world is just didn't, fall apart completely, and this rift between the West and Russia, for instance, it's not so big, and so we have to resolve those issues together to find a solution, and it's keeps us and makes us again, to work together on the all those problems which humanity faces in our development of the world. So in Russia, as I said many times before, we have those problems, shortages of equipment, shortages of money right now also, because those sanctions, they work. Little by little, of course, they create problems, and it's would be wrong to say that Russia doesn't feel it at all. But of course, it has very a lot of resources and a lot of strength, internal strength, and capabilities to withstand all those things. And so the hopes of our adversaries in the West, especially in Europe, they are also, they are just futile, because those who say that Russia will collapse in several months if these sanctions continue, and this pressure on Russia continues, they are just completely wrong. And of course, but it's wrong. The whole situation is wrong, because those issues again, which are underlying those conflicts, both in Russia and in Persian Gulf, they have to be resolved, addressed and resolved. And resolved on compromises, to taking into account all the positions of all the sides. And I think it's the only way to to stay on course and not to slip, as I said, to the abyss of World War III. If we also look another problem which Russia faces now, and that's why actually I'm trying to do this in English this time, because there are problems with internet in Moscow. In some districts of central Moscow, for like a week already, internet is mobile internet is either absent at all, or it's works very with interruptions, a lot of interruptions, and so it's very difficult to use it. Also, they just make some kind of, they call it a white list of resources which you can use without internet. So it's not already internet as a global network, but as some kind of intranet inside of those districts. And of course, it's very difficult also for us, to present our point of view and to present our videos, because YouTube is slowing down, is being slowed by the government. Also, Telegram is also on the list to be, slowed down, and also to probably it will be forbidden, as they claim, because there are all those, again, the issues which brought us to this point are obvious, because when those conflicts started, or they were like just simmering, in the beginning, like 10 years ago, no one in Europe in the first place, they just didn't want to to sit down and to discuss it and to find a solution. And now we're at the stage when everything is very shaky and unstable, and we don't know where it leads. That is also we're just watching closely the situation with all those media resources in Russia. And probably we will switch to our other audience, like in English, or some Kazakhstani audience, or some other country, because we see that number of views of our videos in Russian decreasing very fast, because it's just difficult, to switch on YouTube and to go on the YouTube platform and to watch our videos. We'll see. I hope everything will be, resolved somehow, and we will return back to normal, conditions, and probably, it's this year will be the last one when we experience all those problems, but we will see. If we talk about Kazakhstan today, or yesterday actually, they had a referendum on new constitution, and therefore all those economic things, and also market, power market problems and so on, which we normally discuss, and we try to advise them how to proceed. They were just put aside for a while, because all those decision makers, they are very hesitant to make some real steps to do something, because all of them, they were waiting for this referendum. After referendum, they will have a new government, and so the decision makers, which we trying to reach out for, propagating and promoting our ideas, they could be different ones, and so it's kind of pause. We will see what will happen, but in general, if we just look at the situation, they continue to dream of a lot of new constructions, new developments in power industry. They plan, as I said many times, to double, even more than double their capacity, installed capacity in generation. Just today, this morning, I saw that they want to also insert kind of in this they have capacity market. It's not a market, but kind of procedure. They also want to include in that network capacity as a kind of auctions. Also to reimburse investments through this capacity market, not only for generation resources but also for network and both bulk grid and like a distribution grid. And again, also like several days or weeks ago, they was saying about that they want to create some kind of sector of batteries, some kind of competitive sector of BESS, battery energy storage systems. And again, but there are no holistic market model there, and there is actually no market. There is no marginal market at all, and all those moves to trying to create some kind of separate segments of the market, but without the whole picture, without holistic approach, it's very strange, at least, and I think it won't work. But as I said, they're on pause, on hold. They're waiting to finish this political cycle, and after that, we will see what will happen if we continue with them working on our observation of what is going on there, and also our consulting with our partners there, or if we don't see the results in like in next few months, then probably we just cease to work with Kazakhstan. That's about it. That's what I want to tell you today. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Sorry for my English, because I haven't spoken for a while, but I hope you understood that what I meant to say, and what I wanted to deliver to you. And I hope that we will continue that kind of videos, that kind of broadcasts in English. Thank you, and have a nice day.